Atlanta United Fan TV here with Tanner. It's a 1-1 draw, but I think we came back well. It was not a very pretty first half, but I think us just getting as many chances as possible. One of them was bound to go in, right?
Yeah, finally one eventually did go in. I guess they did end up creating a decent number of chances, but I didn't think a lot of them were really great chances. It was a lot of slow rollers and diving for crosses. They had a load of crosses today and didn't do much with them.
30-something crosses.
Yeah, I didn't think they were that great again moving forward. I mean, again, they did create chances, so it's like at least that's positive. If they weren't, then we'd be really worried. They are creating chances. They're just not great. They're not the looks we're used to getting. But, I think right now, the lack of, being clinical, I think we need to accept that just might be who this team is this season. We're, halfway into the season now, and we struggle to take our chances. So that can always be, broken if you just kind of find a good run of form. But, a draw, it's nice. The home form hasn't been great, but it's better than a loss, especially when you go 1-0 down.
Yeah. Now, in terms of, the quality of the balls coming into the box, I think there were maybe far too many lobbed crosses, especially maybe from the left side, that were just too similar all the time, just the same type of cross, where when we were on the floor, right, like when we passed on the floor, it was way more dangerous.
I don't think it is much like it wasn't just the crosses. It was the whole of the build-up play. The build-up play was very poor. It's the same thing as the Chicago match on the week. People were complaining, oh, it was the lineup. Well, this was our starting 11, and it was the exact same performance. So that was the instruction, I guess. The build-up play is far too slow for me, especially with the 4-2-3-1 and the positions some of these guys are taking up. Defensively, our positioning was terrible today, I thought. I thought we were very, very risky in a lot of situations. Escobar kept taking up inside positions on the right-hand side every single time we had the ball. I thought Ambrose did well, overlapping and attacking from the left. I didn't really get the sub for Zizzo coming on, but a lot of the time it's just slow passing, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches. Barco definitely, cutting inside. What's happening? Where are we going to get the ball? And having no idea, and then against a team as good and well organized as Portland, and they were very well organized, sometimes at 5, 6 guys across their back line. That's not how you're going to beat them. You have to move the ball quick. It has to be that 1-2 touch passing that I know they can play because they're creative enough. They're good enough with their feet to be able to do that. They have to be quicker when they have the ball. Otherwise, we're just passing the ball side to side on a very resolute defense, and we're not going to get a very clear chance.
Right. No, it definitely seemed like we played right into Portland Timbers' game plan. I mean, this is how they play. They play on the counter. They also they compress the space, and there's about 6 guys near the box or in the box that can head it out, and it's just just too much, and we're playing those crosses from just probably far too out. That that's exactly what they were so incisive.
Yeah,
they were so incisive with their passing, and their counters were deadly. Ours just kind of
too many
feeble.
times guys took too many touches when we were on the counter and wouldn't release the ball. They could see the ball where they needed to play it, they just wouldn't do it, and then they would cut it inside and take longer. And yeah, Portland, their passing just in general was fantastic. They kept breaking the press over and over again. They were very efficient with their use of the ball, and every time they passed, someone moved, and they were making runs, and it was very honestly I enjoyed watching them more from a football aesthetic than how Atlanta United played. And their counters were very, very good. Atlanta United are lucky to have gotten a point today because, especially in the first half, they had some very, very close chances. And it wasn't just that, especially in the second half, there were a couple times where Guzan could have been chipped because we weren't good defensively and we weren't in the right places. And it gave guys, chances to be in one-on-one opportunities very similar to how the Houston game was at the beginning of the season. Again, that kind of goes back to the positioning. I thought Escobar was poor positionally and defensively. I thought Zizzo struggled when he came in for pace. And I really thought that LGP had one of his worst games I've seen him. In a similar vein to what happened against Houston, he kept going upfield sometimes for reasons I didn't understand and losing the ball, not making the right play, leaving Parkhurst one-on-one, or not playing well enough when put in one-on-one situations. I just felt he was stretched too thin. He was just getting targeted a bit. And that concerns me. Again, we created chances. We didn't bury them, so it's hard to be too hard and critical on this team that is still first and thereabouts. But they do have to improve their performances at home. It hasn't been great this season. They haven't won 4 out of their last 5 home games, not counting the U.S. Open Cup up in Kennesaw. So it's you have that one win and that very fluky game against Philadelphia. But aside from that, draws and losses. So if they want to win the Cup, now that that's all they have to play for, they need to improve.
And yeah, I mean, if we were to make the playoffs today and we were in the playoffs, would you be comfortable at home?
No, I really wouldn't. I'm more comfortable seeing this team play on the road right now because of how the opposition line up against them. They're a lot more attack minded. They leave a lot more space, which lets this team attack them more. You know, that being said, you know, it's like that team has to show the same drive and spark, you know, that they do on the road at home. There's no drive, there's no spark, there's no intensity to their attacking in their build-up, which is what was a hallmark of this team last year, was how hard they worked. And a lot of the times there's just guys standing there and no one's making a run, and they're, who do I pass it to? And then they drop it back and we slide it around and then have it cross into the box and then do it again. And I wouldn't be comfortable picking this team at all to go through in 2 legs. I mean, yeah, they can play well, you know, on the road and maybe they could get a good result, but I've switched completely from my faith, you know, at the beginning of the season, thinking they can win every single home game 3-1, to right now, they can't break a team down. And every team is going to keep doing the exact same thing we've been seeing over and over and over again until Atlanta figure out how to beat it. I mean, you could have seen a very similar result against Philadelphia if they didn't lose 2 players and have a penalty given up when they lost their minds in the first half. So, you know, this team has to get better at home. They're playing well on the road, which is good. So if they can improve their home form and their focus and get it, you know, going again here, then they'll be the team to beat again. But right now they're struggling a little bit. It happens, but, you know, they're going to have to figure it out eventually. But they have a good opponent coming up this weekend who haven't won in a long time, and maybe that's good, but maybe also that team's going to come in with a lot of intensity, and they're going to have to be prepared for a fight. And, you know, it's a team that you can get a win against, clearly, but, you know, it wouldn't shock me if they're not mentally right, they get caught out again. You know, this team hasn't scored first, with the exception of that Philadelphia game, in a long time. It needs to score first. When that goal went in, there was a life through the stadium and a vibrancy in the attack for a little while. They need that more, because if they can really get the fans into it and be attacking, teams will fold like they have in the past. So we know they can do it. We've seen them do it. Hopefully they can do it and get back to doing it again.